Hey guys, it's Emily. I decided today to do a little video post instead of my regular blog post because frankly I just wasn't in the mood to write, and that's the great thing about basing your life around variety. If you're not in the mood to do something, you can do something else. So the topic for today is going to be collaborations. I'm going to talk about projects and partnerships when it comes to doing creative things together. When I was in high school, I had a band. We were called Frustrated Telephone Operator, FTO for short. Woo. And I was really serious about the band. You know, I insisted on regular band practices. I wrote like crazy. I submitted our demos to various places. I booked shows. I made websites, and we're talking like Angel Fire, HTML, late 90s style websites. I was really into it. Now my bandmates, they were good friends of mine, and they cared, but not like I did. I took the band really seriously. I really wanted to make it. And after about 3-4 years of this, it started getting to me, the fact that things were a little bit unequal, shall we say, in terms of the amount of work we were putting into making the band succeed. And it's not their fault. They had other things going on, and it just wasn't the same kind of priority as it was for me. But eventually this became so frustrating, and we sort of ended up parting ways. The other bandmates got interested in other things, and eventually it was just me. And so then I did the solo thing for a few years. Now that was incredibly freeing. It was really exciting to have all the power in my own hands. Of course, it was also very scary because you've got no one to blame but yourself, right? Like, it's all on you. If you get criticism, you're being criticized, it's not the band. You can't hide behind anyone. There's no buffer there. You're just up there in the spotlight on your own. So it takes confidence, and I think that very often we align ourselves with partners because we're afraid to step out on our own and to do our own thing, and if there's something that you want and it's your dream, you need to claim it. And that takes confidence. And so there was a few years in high school there where I wasn't quite ready to do that, and then I did it, and it was scary, but it was very rewarding. So the point that I'm getting to from this is that you don't want to align yourself with people just because you're afraid to do something on your own. That can really hold you back. It can also be something, you can be aware that the person you're aligning yourself with might not care as much as you, and you could possibly be trying to sabotage it right from the beginning. You know, we always like to look for excuses, some other reason, something else we can blame for the fact that we're not stepping out of our comfort zone, because that's scary, right? And so if something is out of your power, if you're powerless to do something about it because you're waiting for someone else to deliver work, you're reliant on someone else for their free time so that you can practice or work together, then it's not really your fault. Then if you don't make it, it's someone else's fault, and you might not want to take that scary step, so you can just stay comfortable, nothing has to change, but you also won't progress. You won't get anywhere. So I think a lot of ambitious people, entrepreneurs, artists, creative types, learn to step out on their own, step into the spotlight, and kind of embrace the solo life, and really value independence and feeling empowered and just taking things on their own. And it can become almost addictive. And that's what happened to me. After I started doing the solo thing, I started just doing my own projects here and there, and I loved not having to rely on anyone else, not having my goals dependent on someone else's schedule and on someone else's behavior, someone else's effort. It was really empowering and really freeing. However, you get to a certain point where you're okay alone, and it would actually benefit you to align yourself with someone else who is the right type of partner for you. And so this is where selection comes in. You need to learn what your strengths are and what you're looking for, and you just need to know a bit about your personality. And then you can choose the right partner for you. So for me, I like to work with someone that I feel comfortable with, someone that I can speak freely, share my thoughts, and not feel like they're judging me. And someone who understands me. We have very similar sense of humor. We get each other, right? But at the same time, I like for my collaboration partner to have a different angle on things. So a little bit of difference is great, because in my experience, the best partnerships, just like the best friendships actually, are those situations where you say something that seems really obvious to you, but your partner is like, whoa, I hadn't thought of that, and vice versa. They say something that seemed really obvious to them, and it's just a slightly different way of looking at the problem. And you're like, oh, that's a great idea. And you can kind of, build on each other's thoughts. And this sort of magical thing happens where, two minds come together and you create what Napoleon Hill would call a mastermind, right? Just this, magic can happen when you're working with someone that you really riff well off of, and you guys vibe well together, and you fill in each other's gaps. If you know what strengths you have and what you prefer doing, and finding someone who likes doing the other side of that can be really cool. It's a really fun experience. Also, accountability. Having partners can be great, because here's a little example. So I'm working on this podcast now for the website. It should be out in a few months, or not a few months, in a few weeks, because we're banking a few episodes first. But I'm working with my friend Abe. I will post a link to his blog, Do Something Fly. It's just starting out, but it's going to be really awesome. He's a cool guy. And he and I, we were planning out the first episode last week. And we were sending ideas back and forth, and I was like, okay, well, let's put together a little outline. We'll meet up on Sunday. We'll discuss it over Skype, whatever. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, you know what? Screw that. Let's just record it. What is with this urge to be perfect all the time? If we continuously overthink everything and try and make everything perfect, nothing's going to get done. So I sent him this email, and he wrote back and he was like, that's more like it. Let's do it. And we did. We just got together and we recorded it. We had a little bit of a plan, what we wanted to discuss, but it was great. It worked. And so that's the kind of thing that a partner can be great for. They can encourage you to get moving faster. If I were to try and record this podcast on my own, I'd probably dawdle, I'd take my time, because it's something new, it's something scary. And having someone there with you, pushing you, someone that you're feeling accountable for, you have to deliver a certain work by a certain date, that can really help you. And it can inspire you, and you can inspire them, and it can create this wonderful, collaborative, magical masterpiece. So, it's really easy to want to go solo, and to want to do everything yourself, and to not rely on anyone else. And I understand that urge, but at a certain point, it can really help to collaborate with others. You can create incredible things that you wouldn't have been able to do on your own. And it's important to be open to that. So that's my message for today. I hope you're enjoying the blog. I really love communicating with you guys. I love reading your comments and everything. Keep it up. And look out for the podcast. A few weeks.